Hi everybody.
Well,
Hello, we're live on YouTube. That's Chris Biederman, former 49ers beat writer for the Sacramento Bee. I am Kyle Madsen, NinersWire.com. I don't know why I'm doing this like this. The 49ers won. They beat the New York Giants 34-24. I'm asking legitimately. I'm not asking because I think this is necessarily the case. But was that their best all-around performance of the season?
Going back and looking. I mean, I thought week 1 against Seattle was a really good performance overall for the most part, maybe with the exception of Brock Purdy's interceptions.
All right, let me put it this way. It's the first dominant performance they've had all year where I never really felt like the game was like within reach for New York. Even the Falcons game, until the Niners scored late, and even then there's no Fred Warner and it's Bijan Robinson. He can house it from anywhere on the field. It kind of felt tenuous until the end. Today, once the Niners went up 20-7 to start the third quarter, it kind of felt like the game was over.
It felt to me like the game ended when Brian Daboll decided to kick the field goal to make it 20-10 when you're on the 3-yard line in a 20. Like, that was such an insane decision to me. Like, you're 2-6, you have absolutely nothing to lose. Making it a 10-point game does absolutely nothing for you at that point. You get a touchdown there, it's a one-score game, and you're right back in it. And even if you don't get it, you pin the 49ers offense deep, and then you take your chances there. So I thought that was like the proverbial white flag to me. That was
insane.
Really ridiculous. That was a really ridiculous decision, I thought, on his part. And I know you have a rookie quarterback, but the Niners defense is missing its two best players. And there are so many different things you can do, particularly with a dynamic quarterback who can move the ball with his legs. You know, there are so many different plays you could have ran there that I was really stunned. But yeah, from to make when it was 20-10, that to me was like, all right, the Niners should stomp these guys out for the rest of the game, and they more or less did. A couple garbage time touchdowns for the Giants, but the Niners kept responding. 39 runs after last week. They had 10. This was much more of the formula that we expect from the Niners. So yeah, I guess it's thoroughly their best performance, I think, top to bottom. I know someone mentioned in the chat the Rams game. That was probably the biggest win of the season, but they got a lot of help on the way, and there were some mistakes in that game. This one was a more thorough performance, but it was also, I think, against the worst opponent they've played. So I don't really know.
Ooh.
I mean, I don't know. I guess the Saints are pretty bad. I don't know. I wish I was better prepared to answer that question. This was one of their best performances of the season. How about that?
No, it was their most dominant performance, though.
Yeah.
It was like you said. Every time the Giants at the end of the game, the Giants score, Niners answer with a touchdown. Giants score, Niners get the onside kick, and then just run it out. They never really let them get off the mat, which was good to see, particularly with how they performed last week in Houston. Going into this game, you're 5-3. You have the Rams next week. That's maybe the most difficult game left on their schedule, depending on how you feel about Indianapolis and Seattle. So their biggest game of the year is next week. If you go into that one 5-4 and you lose, now you're at 500. Now you're kind of fighting uphill to just stay in the playoff race. Whereas you get this win this week, you give yourself a little bit of wiggle room, and then I think it's Carolina and Cleveland, 2 winnable games going into your bye week. This sets them up, if they do this right, to be, what would that be, 9-4 going into the bye week? If they, like I said, if they do it right and kind of take care of business, even if they lose that Rams game. So I thought this was one of those spots where, given how they played against Houston, and given where the New York Giants are, like, they just saw Cam Scatterbo, kind of the lifeblood of their team, go down with a really gruesome ankle injury last week. And I thought this was a spot that was one where the 49ers could bounce back and play well. And if they didn't, then it would have had doubts about their ability to beat Carolina, who went into Green Bay and won today, by the way. Kind of insane. I would have not felt great about their chances to go in and beat Cleveland, a team that historically has had the 49ers number. At least Jim Schwartz has historically had Kyle Shanahan's number. But showing today that they can go in on the road, 10 a.m. kick, sort like an 11 a.m. kick because of the clock falling back, but early kickoff on the road, coming off a bad loss. I think if you lose today or play poorly today, it's really good. It's really hard to feel good about the 49ers making the playoffs going forward. By going and winning today in the fashion that they did, I feel a little more optimistic about their chances to keep their heads above water and go 10-7, 11-6, whatever they're going to need to make the postseason.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And now you have the trade deadline on Tuesday. So what's that going to look like? I would imagine Kyle Shanahan said after the game that they don't, going 6-3 versus 5-4 doesn't change their viewpoint. But I think broadly, what would have changed the viewpoint going into the deadline in terms of how they're going to operate would have been, all right, are the playoffs realistic or are they not?
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so they made some moves last week. They get Keon White. They add Cleveland Farrell, who had a sack today. Sam Okuwano had a nice day. We do need to talk about the Mykel Williams injury and the fact that the 49ers think it's an ACL tear.
So can we stop there for a minute?
Sure.
Because I think that plays into the trade thing for me.
Yeah.
That's kind of it. You can continue your point. I think the Mykel Williams thing really factors in for me into whether they're going to make a deal or not. More than the record.
Yeah, you kind of have to. I mean, he was a mainstay and somebody who was on the field a lot. I haven't checked, but I have to think he was their leader in terms of snaps played on the defensive line throughout the season, given all the injuries.
Get on right now.
And the sack production hasn't been, particularly great, but he's been a really solid rookie, I think, and somebody who's been solid in the run and decent in the past. I wouldn't say he's been super impactful, but it's not like Mykel Williams is out of position and allowing quarterbacks to, break, contain, and do all that stuff. Like, he's not getting sack production, but he is in the right spots typically. And I think he's a good player, and I think he's going to be a good player. But losing him, I mean, somehow he was like their most dependable defensive lineman and maybe their most versatile. And now you lose him potentially for the season. And Nick Bosa, Bryce Huff, Yeturgos Matos, kind of a bit player at this point, but even he's injured. And now you lose Mykel Williams. It's like, I don't know what you do. Like, you still got to push and try to make the playoffs because you have the team for it still to try to make a playoff push. But it's like, I just don't. We've covered some 49ers teams that have been super injury depleted. I don't remember them being this injury depleted at one position. Do you? This is insane. Their top 4 defensive ends are all dealing with substantial injuries.
Yeah, seriously, that's Mykel Williams and Nick Bosa started at defensive end week 1, and Yeturgos Matos and Bryce Huff were the 3 and 4 in some order. And Sam Okuwanu is now a starter and clearly promoted to the roster and half season ending there. Not an A goes on IR, and I would assume Cleveland Farrell replaces him. Fact, who gets being top 2 in snaps played among defensive linemen is probably not going to get it done if you're the 49ers. I'm not for any extended period. There was that game against Green Bay in 2020 where a bunch of receivers were out, but it's man, I don't know what you do at this point. Like, I'm running out of things to say about the injury situation.
You just got to patch it together, I guess.
Yeah, and do you make a trade? Do you again, I don't think it's Trey Hendrickson. I don't think it's anything like that. But I think at this point, is there another Keon White level trade where you're doing late round pick swap to just get a body in who has been playing football games this year? I mean, I really think that's the bar right now. I'm less concerned about like, oh, can this guy do this or do this? How versatile is he? Can turn the corner as a pass rusher? Like, has he played football snaps in the NFL this year? And is he ready to step in tomorrow? Or not tomorrow, but next week? Like I think that's the bar they're probably looking to clear. And I was already in that camp going into this week. And now you lose Michael Williams. I don't know what you do outside of trade for somebody unless you're going to bring up William Bradley King or whoever.
I guess the question is, because I'm with you, I think Trey Hendrickson's probably out. Unless you can get him for, I guess, somewhat of a discount. But I would imagine that given the trade market around the league, there's going to be some team that's going to be willing to, probably outspend you, or at least beat the trade compensation that you would be willing to offer. So do you look at Miami and do you look at Bradley Chubb, or do you look at Jalen Phillips? And I think on paper, those guys make sense and you could probably get them for a reasonable cost. But those are guys also with very lengthy injury histories. And Jalen Phillips, a former first-round pick, like that's somebody that nearly nearly stopped playing football because of the head injuries he dealt with. Like that's just, I don't know. Like here's the thing that like I struggle with. Can you trade for somebody with an injury history? And do you worry about it because, like, man, we've dealt with so many other injuries, or do you just have to like ignore that, right? Like you can't let the fact that you're dealing with all these injuries impact your decision in bringing in somebody who's dealt with a bunch of injuries, right? You can't, because there's no logical connection other than vibes, right? Like if you bring in important. Bradley, right? But if you bring in Bradley Chubb, he's not more likely to get injured if he's on the 49ers than he would be with the Dolphins. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, for sure. But if you're the 49ers and you're looking for a replacement, bringing in a guy who's not injury prone, for lack of a better term, is probably preferred. Yeah. But at the same time, I don't think you should not, if Bradley Chubb's available for a 5th round pick in 2027, like, yeah, sure, go for it. And if he gets hurt, then cross that bridge when you get to it. But you'd rather have Bradley Chubb than not have him, if that's, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. Arden Key is the name that keeps coming up. Yeah, Benali in the chat at youtube.com/@Candlestick Chronicles Podcast says, yeah, I maybe, like, I'm sure. I don't hate that idea at all.
It's just dire, man. It's so weird. Like, this is the most conflicting 49ers season I can remember, because they're 6-3 and they're in a pretty good spot. And if they were like healthy, if they had Brock Purdy, if they had Fred Warner, if they had Ricky Pearsall, if they had Brandon Ayuk, if they had Nick Bosa, you'd look at 6-3, and then you'd look at, Green Bay losing to Carolina. You'd look at Dallas losing to Detroit, losing to Minnesota. And you'd be like, man, the 49ers are as good as any of these teams in the NFC, really, like realistically. Like, it might only be Philadelphia and Tampa Bay that you would like more than them at this moment. But the Niners are 6-3, and it's really hard to feel great about them given all the injuries. Like, we've talked about sustainability all season long, and the sustainability really came crashing back down to earth last week against Houston. And you figure the 49ers should be able to beat the Giants because the Giants stink, frankly. The Niners handle business on the road against the Giants. They're 6-3, but it's like another injury. At what point, like, do you completely lose faith? Like, it's just such a conflicting team. It's like, you love that they're 6-3. You hate the injuries. And at some point, the injuries are just going to be too much to overcome. But maybe at the same time, the schedule is so favorable, like today's game against the Giants, that you can still tread water and still be a factor in the NFC playoff picture. I don't know. This is like, we've talked about the 49ers for a long, long time, and we've talked about really good teams. We've talked about really injured teams / bad teams. This is a good team that's injured, and it's a really hard team for me to talk about because it's like, I don't have faith in their ability to make a deep playoff run because of the injuries, but I cannot take the record away from them because they are 6-3, which is a really good record, all things considered.
Right. And that's like, it's for me, you can't mortgage your future to improve this version of the team. But at the same time, they're good enough that you feel like you have to invest something to try and see if you can get whatever this team is over the hump and into the postseason. I think it's really tough. I'm with you that you can suck. Sorry, I'm trying to look something up. My computer doesn't like it. So I want to, speaking of draft capital, can we talk about this year's draft class real quick?
Sure.
So in the first round, you have Micah Williams, who is now hurt and has 1 sack on the season as the number 11 pick. In the second round, you had Alfred Collins, who did not record a stat today. Trent Williams had more tackles than Alfred Collins as the second round pick. Upton Stout has been fine. He's up and down. Nick Martin is a non-factor. Marquise Siegel is a healthy scratch. Jordan Watkins, salute, had a catch today, but is largely a non-factor. Jordan James, healthy scratch. CJ West, healthy scratch. This was supposed to be a year where the 49ers were playing rookies and like, oh, these guys are going to get better and they're going to play and come playoff time, all these young players are going to be. And I count of their Connor Colby now on the bench, by the way. Spencer Burford starting over him at left guard. Junior Bergen practice squad. Curtis Rourke hurt. They're getting, basically going into week 10, they're going to be getting dick from their 2025 draft class.
Yeah.
That's a mess, dude. That's a disaster.
I don't think it's a disaster. I think it's, I mean, would you want more production? Sure, but these guys are playing.
It is given their state this year.
Sure.
No, but that's my thing is they're not. Marquise Siegel went from starter to healthy scratch. They had an injury at linebacker, and Nick Martin is still a non-factor, and apparently is behind Curtis Robinson on the depth chart. Like, there's the Alfred Collins did nothing today. Zero. Didn't do anything. CJ West can't even suit up because you got to get.
I don't know.
Jordan Elliott snaps. I don't know, man.
Yeah, I don't think the draft class has been incredible, but I think it's pretty low on the list of concerns for them right now. I mean, I think
my point is
asking, do you not think any of these if you don't think any of these guys are going to benefit from this season and be starters down the road, then I guess that's problematic. And I would agree with you,
sure.
But I think that these guys are going to be starters, and I think most of them are probably going to be fine, and some of them might even be decent starters. I don't look at what they're giving the team right now as this super problematic thing. Like, they are 6-3. I think it would be a lot different if they were, losing a bunch of games. The fact that they're 6-3 with all the injuries, there might not be, it might not be everything you want from the rookie class right now, but I would put it pretty like, I would put it behind a few other things in terms of, like, if you're listing the 49ers problems, it wouldn't be probably the first 3 bullet points for me.
Sure. Good news is, man, right? Malik Mustafa, Dominic Pooney, Renardo Green, they look great.
Yeah, and I thought Spencer Burford was like playing pretty well today. So it wasn't like if Spencer Burford came in and was dog shit, then you'd be like, man, this dude's better than Connor Colby, or like, the safety play I thought today was mostly fine.
Connor Colby.
Right. Yeah, the safety play was fine. Like, if the safety play was bad and Siegel is a healthy scratch, then it's like, all right, this is problematic. I think Upton Stout's good. Right. I think Micah Williams has been solid. Like, I know he got hurt, but I don't view this draft class as some disaster. If we looked at this draft class and said none of these dudes are going to be starters, or none of these dudes have a chance at a second contract, then I would be with you in that. Like, yeah, this could be a disaster, but I don't view that I don't view it that way just yet.
All right. I don't love that guys appear to be going backwards though, as they've played more. That's a bad sign. So, one thing, I don't think we've said Christian McCaffrey's name yet, and we're 20 minutes into this podcast. So Christian McCaffrey played well today, and I feel like we need to talk about that. It's so funny how a constant refrain for me, I don't want to speak for anybody else, but a constant refrain for me in if you're looking for 49ers highlights on the 49ers Twitter page, don't bother. A pretty consistent refrain for me has been like, man, they need to figure out a way to limit Christian McCaffrey's workload. 33 touches again today. And after every single one of these games, I write on Niners Wire, I say on this podcast, I say on my radio show, like, man, they got to figure out a way to get some of these touches off of Christian McCaffrey's plate. But the fact of the matter is Christian McCaffrey's just good as hell, man. And whoever you're going to give touches to instead just isn't going to be quite as good. And Brian Robinson was better today. We can talk about should he have been getting all the carries at the end of the game instead of the 2 extra for Christian McCaffrey, the 4 and 5 yard carries that got him to 3rd and 1. Should Brian Robinson have taken those? We can talk about those, but there's just a pretty consistent through line when the 49ers offense plays well. It's because Christian McCaffrey played well. Like that's just kind of it. And I think anytime you're limiting Christian McCaffrey touches, you're limiting what you're doing on offense.
Yeah, I mean, he's the team's MVP, and I don't think it's particularly close.
It's not even close.
And he might be top 3 for Offensive Player of the Year again at this point. I'd have to look at the numbers comparing him to everybody else, but he had his 16th career game with a touchdown run and touchdown catch, passing Marshall Faulk for the most in NFL history. Mm-hmm. I think he's going to be a Hall of Famer, right?
Yeah, man. Especially if he has another 1,000 season, doing it 3 times.
Yeah,
that would just. I think especially in the era of the running back doesn't matter, quote unquote, Christian McCaffrey just so very clearly impacts games in a way that, who like Josh Jacobs or James Cook don't. Like they're really good players. I'm not trying to. That's not a slight on Jacobs or Cook, but Christian McCaffrey's impact on a game is just better, or I should say greater than theirs. So for me, if McCaffrey wasn't stamped already, the 16 games most ever with a rushing and receiving touchdown, like you said, if he gets to another 1,000 season, 1,000 yards rushing, 1,000 yards receiving, which he's on track for, I think that stamps him.
You know who else impacts the game, Kyle?
I hope I know who it is. Yes.
It is our friends at Lamb Chops. SGLambchops.com is the website. They are the official clothing provider of this very podcast. You and I are both wearing our Candlestick Chronicles Lamb Chops merch. I'm in the t-shirt. I'm trying to get so you can see the logo, but I got to stay behind the mic.
Just do this.
Just do. Yeah, I'm not working. Anyway, sglambchops.com is the website. All of their gear is amazing. The fall line is up now. And if you throw Candlestick in the search tab, you can find the merch there. Just very affordable, very reasonably priced, and it's just really great, high quality stuff. So make sure you check them out, sglambchops.com. Use promo code Candlestick20 to save 20% off of your order. And follow them on their social channels. Lamb Chops, join the herd. Hey, Kyle, did you have a Prize Picks lineup this week
for the 49er game?
I got so wrapped up in Halloween that I forgot to make a Prize Picks lineup. Well, while you're figuring that out, I need to tell you that this episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. You and I make decisions every day, but on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this football season on Prize Picks, where it's good to be right. Prize Picks, of course, is the only app that offers stacks, meaning you can pick the same player up to 3 times in the same lineup. Want to pick more on Josh Allen's pass yards, rush yards, and touchdowns? You can pick all of them in the same lineup only on Prize Picks. Follow other Prize Picks players directly on the app and copy their lineups in one click. whether it's a friend, a celebrity partner, or just someone whose picks you like, hit the follow button and check out every lineup they create in the new feed tab on Prize Picks. So, did you have a lineup, or do you have a lineup you'd like to go through?
No, I didn't have a lineup for the 49ers game, but of course Prize Picks doesn't just do football. They do pro basketball, men's and women's. They do hockey, they do baseball. Like I think darts is on there, like e-gaming. So I had a lineup for the Warriors-Pacers game. I'd never been this ice cold on Prize Picks. I have now lost 4 consecutive lineups, and none even close. Yesterday I had Buddy Hield. The Warriors lost to the Pacers, by the way. Just a dreadful loss, coming off another bad loss to Milwaukee. I had Buddy Hield more than 9.5 points, rebounds, and assists. He had 8. I had Draymond Green to score more than half a point in the first 3 minutes. I needed Draymond to score once in the first 3 minutes. He didn't. Jimmy Butler hit on the more than 19.5 points. He had 20, but then Jonathan Kuminga more than 3.5 assists. That was a demon play. He had 2. And Pascal Siakam, demon play, more than 2.5 points in the first 3 minutes. He also only had 2. So a 1 for 5 for me. That's not going to get it done, even on a flex play. And not a winner for me on Prize Picks. But I'm going to get back on the horse because it is my very favorite way to watch sports.
You're going to bounce back. You're going to take a look in the mirror. You're going to evaluate some things, watch the tape.
Yeah.
But most importantly, I mean, I'll have to tell you this, but I do need to tell the listeners/viewers, download the Prize Picks app today and use code Candlestick to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That is code Candlestick to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Benali P in the chat on YouTube, we're live streaming, asks who's winning the team's Rookie of the Year award currently? Stout by virtue of being mostly fine.
Probably.
Yeah.
Michael Williams probably has a case just because he's played a lot, but now he's hurt.
Alfred Collins' forced fumble at the goal line in the Rams game is probably the biggest play made by a 49ers rookie.
Counterpoint, Upton Stout with the pass breakup against the Cardinals on a third down that got the Niners the ball back so they could go down and kick the game-winning field goal.
True.
What do you think about that?
And Upton Stout, if he would have had, was it the Jaguars game that he had the interception that was called back to a polarizing
that is
penalty?
That
they might have won that game.
I
mean, if Stout continues playing at this level, I think he probably gets it.
Do we want to consider
there's a lot of football left.
Do we want to consider the hidden yards gained by all the game planning opposing defenses have had to do for Jordan Watkins? A lot of hidden.
He did have a big catch today. That catch,
he did. That was sick.
It might have been an interception if he didn't make that catch.
Yes, it definitely
in the first half.
Yeah. That was a veteran ass play from the rookie. I thought Mac Jones was good.
I want to say the Niners scored their second touchdown on that drive. Is that correct?
Feels right.
Anyway, doesn't matter. Big play. What were you gonna say?
I thought Mac Jones was good again today, but good in just kind of the way the Niners need him to be good. He was just decisive, got the ball out quick. I thought their game plan this week was more what their game plan against Houston would look like. Against Houston, it felt like a lot of deep drops, straight drop back passes, and you're just not going to beat the Texans that way. And then today, especially early on, it was a lot of quick throws, like little one-step drops, quick throws, some weird screens to Kyle Juszczyk, and then just beating the Giants with play action. And of course, McCaffrey individually on the ground was really good, and so was Brian Robinson in his 5 carries. Mac Jones is, to me, he is the line between like backup and starter. And I think you feel confident in winning a game with him as a starter, but I think even today you kind of see the ceiling where there's not going to be a ton of secondary playmaking. When he gets to the top of his drop, if that pocket starts to collapse, the play's over and they're losing yards. And for as good as he was, I just think the 49ers are going to be better once Brock Purdy is back under center because of that secondary playmaking, because of that scrambling ability, because teams just have to account for it in a way they don't with Mac Jones. So Jones was really good today, again, But while he was really good, I think you kind of see the ceiling that is on the Niners offense when he's in there.
For sure. And I thought the Niners were able to run the ball a lot in large part because the Giants defense is terrible against the run.
Yeah.
And their linebackers are terrible. They're playing Demetrius Flanagan fouls a bunch of snaps today.
No revenge game this week.
Not much of a revenge game factor for him. But in terms of Mac Jones, like, I just think it's so funny that, like, he takes one sack or gets one hit and it looks like he's in like trench warfare. Like he's been in a trench somewhere for like a week, like grenades blowing up around him. His uniform's filthy. He's got a bloody nose. Like his jersey's ripped. It's like, how does it? He looks like a car that you drive off the lot, and then by the time you get home, it has 400,000 miles on it, and it needs a detailing and like a bumper replacement. He goes from 0 to completely disheveled faster than any other quarterback in the league.
Disheveled?
And he's still, disheveled. One of those sounds. But like. And there was that run. The broadcast just completely missed this, which, the broadcast today was, I love Kevin Harlan. The broadcast today was a brutal watch.
Just so
there was a running play where Christian McCaffrey is like getting nearly stopped at the line to gain. And Mac Jones goes running in there and like belts the pile forward. Mm-hmm. And Christian McCaffrey gets the first down. And the broadcast doesn't even mention that this dude who's like, got a brace on his knee and his other knee's screwed up and he's got like an arm sleeve on and like all this, like Mac Jones is throwing his body around in a game where the Niners are up by 17 points. Like the guy's a lunatic and he just always looks like he's like, it's unbelievable. He takes one sack and his nose is bleeding.
I'm so glad you brought that up because that play happened and I started to type a tweet about it. But then the broadcast didn't mention it, and I thought, I must have seen the wrong thing. I thought for sure we were going to get and look at Mac Jones. Look at him pushing the pile. I thought for sure we were going to get that whole thing, and then they didn't. And so I was like, I must have just missed something. But I'm so glad that you validated that for me. Yeah, man, you can tell he's playing hurt because after he gets sacked the first time, he walks back to the huddle like me walking to the bathroom when I first wake up. Like just like, oh God, like knees cracking, shoulders cracking, ankles like you can tell he does not feel good right now. And like I said, salute. Like this is not, I want to speak no ill of Mac Jones. He's been very, very good. I just think the Niners are going to be better with Brock under center. But man, my guy has never just like kind of taken a sack. It's just...
He's not the one to ever like take a hit and then just bounce right back up.
No,
it's like, all right,
no, God, no.
Like teammates help me up. Like, all right, let me adjust my jersey.
Fix
my
the
nose
knee
bleeding.
brace.
My nose is bleeding. Yeah, fix the knee brace. Like, oh, my cramping. Am I dry heaving on the sideline?
You can
Do I
hear
need an
him
IV?
like. You can hear him going, oh God. Yeah.
Mac Jones is what, like 26, 27, but he looks like a 55-year-old.
Yeah, he sure does.
So shout out to Mac. He's playing well.
Yeah.
He played really well. The Giants defense is terrible. I thought the game plan was really good. Niners game plan always looks good when you can run the ball 39 times.
Shout out to, speaking of quarterback, shout out to Adrian Martinez. Made his NFL debut today and lost a yard.
Just a horrendous addition.
Dog shit
just
debut.
Doing nothing. No production from Adrian
They
Martinez.
didn't even trust him to throw a pass.
I thought it was weird that Mac Jones did that. That like he subbed himself out. I was like, does Mac's knee hurt so bad? Because they were talking about how he bruised his kney.
Yeah.
Does his knee hurt so bad he can't like take a knee without feeling pain? So he just checks himself out so Martinez can go in there. He said afterwards they just wanted to get him a snap, which is sure.
That makes sense.
Sure.
That's 100% what I thought it was. I did think it was funny that all week on the 49ers injury report, Mac Jones was listed as, I think he was a full participant all week, but it was knee, knee. Like I thought for sure that was a typo, that it was like supposed to be knee and oblique and they were going to fix it and they just left it. That's just what it was on the injury report. Knee and knee, not knees.
Right. You could save some lettering, some ink.
Knee.
Just put knees. Yeah, I'm with you. Like there hasn't been, and we've talked about this before, but there hasn't been any sort of discussion about, quarterback controversy anymore. Like, to your point, there are very clear limitations there. And Mac Jones can't operate the offense. You can win games against bad teams, but the ceiling with Brock Purdy is just so much higher.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, and Shanahan said today that Brock's injury is probably going to persist throughout the season. It's just going to be, to what degree is the injury and does it get substantially worse? Can he deal with the pain? Man. I would imagine, and Shanahan said he didn't know, but I would imagine that Brock needs surgery and he's probably just going to wait till the offseason to get it.
Man.
So, I mean, that's kind of the other thing looming over this, like a potential playoff run, and the sustainability of it all is like, there's a very real scenario where you get to a playoff game and Brock Purdy isn't even your quarterback. At which point it's really like, it kind of lines up with the way I feel about this team. It's like, it's really impressive to be 6-3, but it's just really hard to be optimistic about what the ceiling is for this team.
Yeah, for sure. But to me, if you're making the playoffs with this version of the 49ers, given like how 2020 went, for example, where the wheels just fell off, if they can keep this thing on the tracks enough just to make the postseason, then I think that's kind of a win, honestly. Yeah. And whoever starts that game is, it's sort of whatever for me. I don't think I would be picking the 49ers to win any playoff game that they would play at this point, given what their roster looks like. I kind of do wonder, though, if that's the case, if it's just like, hey, this is going to linger all year, then maybe you just roll with Mac Jones until like you can't anymore. Maybe
they
that's
might have
just
to.
Yeah, maybe that's just the move, and you give Brock Purdy as long as humanly possible to go, all right, fine. All right, this is a must-win game against Chicago. Here, Brock, you're in. Or we have a must-win game next week against Chicago, so Brock, you're going to play the week before, and then you'll face Chicago. Like, that wouldn't shock me at all. Or maybe they give him through the bye week, try and give him an extra week. I have no idea.
It sounds like he's close to maybe playing next week against the Rams, and that would be a logical return for me. I mean, it's natural grass. You probably need him to beat the Rams, I think, realistically. But I think you play Brock when he's deems himself ready to play, and then you just go into it knowing like there's a very real possibility that Mac Jones is going to have to win you a playoff game. Yep. Or at least Mac Jones is going to have to start a playoff game for you. At which point, like, your hand is your hand, like you get dealt a 5 and an 8 and you're in, the final group in your poker game. Like that just is what it is. You got to deal with the hand that you have, the hand that you're dealt. And
hey,
it just feels like what this 49ers season is.
Hey, can we pause the 49ers talk real quick to acknowledge that Jags kicker Cam Little made a 68-yard field goal in an NFL game?
Wow, against the Raiders?
Yeah, that is bananas. He made it to end the first half. I clicked on the wrong thing, and that immediately popped out to me.
It is a 6-6 game, early third quarter. Shout out to anybody watching that game. That seems like a slog.
Back to the Niners.
Well, no, I mean, speaking of, like, Rams are up 20-10 on the Saints at home. Seahawks play in Washington Sunday night, which will be an interesting game. The Niners, even with their 6th win, are still technically behind these teams. Mm-hmm. If the Rams somehow lose to the Saints, which I wouldn't count on them doing.
20-10 Rams early third quarter there.
Yeah. And then I mean, there's a chance. I don't know. We'll see with that Washington Seahawks game, but there's a chance that the 49ers jump ahead of the Seahawks again, who are currently, I believe, in the number 3 seed in the NFC. So yeah, with the Lions losing to Minnesota, they dropped to 7th. Niners 6th, Rams 5th, Seattle 3rd. So I guess that would stay the same if the Rams and Seahawks win. But if Seattle loses, then the Niners, I think, jump up. Or maybe the Rams jump up. I don't know. I shouldn't do this until we actually have it decided. TBD on the standings. We will talk about that later.
The 49ers are a team in the NFC West.
And they're currently, as we're recording this, in the 6th seed in the playoff race.
More at 11.
They would play Seattle. Yeah. They would play Seattle in week 1.
They would go to Seattle. Oh, man.
Yeah. What'd you think about Jackson Dart? Because my feelings varied pretty substantially in comparison to the broadcast. The way the broadcast was talking about Jackson Dart was like he was winning the game. And it was, wow, he's completing so many passes and he's so efficient. Trent Green had the audacity to call Jackson Dart efficient. And yes, while he completed like 95% of his passes when he said it, he was averaging 5 yards an attempt. Do you know how difficult it is to average 5 yards per attempt when you're completing like 90% of your throws? Like, that's not efficiency. That's the exact opposite of efficiency. Like Trent Green, love Trent Green. Great or good NFL career, has been a broadcaster for a long time.
Can I just say, I don't co-sign the love Trent Green. Trent Green just exists. I have no strong feelings on Trent Green.
Trent Green did not have his fastball today. Talking about the Giants are down 17, they score a touchdown, and whoa, we said at the beginning of the drive, given what the score is and given how much time is left, they really needed that touchdown. Oh, really, Trent Green? Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the analysis of pointing out that the Giants needed a touchdown down 17 points in the third quarter of this football game. That was just really, really great, insightful stuff from our guy, Trent.
Trent Green was salty that he wasn't on the Indianapolis-Pittsburgh or Atlanta-New England game.
Something.
Probably.
But yeah, there was a lot of love for Jackson Dart on the broadcast, and I thought he was fine, and he might end up being a good player, but it was like the Giants are getting their ass kicked in a pretty ugly performance, and we're like extolling this rookie quarterback who's down by 2 and 3 scores throughout the afternoon. I don't know.
So
it was weird.
A fun stat is that Jackson Dart completed the same amount of passes that Mac Jones attempted and threw for 44 fewer yards. That's pretty nuts. I thought Jackson Dart was good. I think the Giants are ass. I think Brian Daboll sucks. I do not think he's a good coach. I do not think he has hired good coordinators. I do not think the supporting cast around Jackson Dart is adequate. I think it's really clear that Jackson Dart is super, super talented. The throw that he made that should have been a touchdown, the Jair Brown jarred loose, was a really nice throw. The throw to Gunnar Olszewski for their last touchdown that made it 34-24 was a really nice throw. He spent a lot of time being captain check down for sure. But like I said, I'm guessing that's a function of the offense. And honestly, Robert Saleh is a good defensive coordinator. He's probably going to throw some things at him that he wasn't ready for. And he figured out a way to complete passes. So I liked what I saw from Jackson Dart today, and the stuff I didn't like, I'm putting more on the coaching staff than I am on the quarterback.
They're also without Malik Neighbors for the season and Cam Scadaboo for the season. 2 really, really good young weapons for them, obviously.
Yeah.
So that's worth noting. And again, I think Jackson Dart's fine. I just thought what Jackson Dart is and what he was today was not accurately reflected in the broadcast.
Yeah, I agree.
So yeah, that's all.
Especially when they're not playing a juggernaut defense. Like, he had a lot of plays where he had all day to throw.
Right.
Hey, did the 49ers lead the league in getting 6 hands on the quarterback and then the quarterback winding up running for a first down?
They might.
I swear to God it happens once a game. Like, oh, nice, they got a sack. Oh, nope, there he goes, first down. Like, it's unbelievable. Just hold the guy up. Just wrap him up. Stand there. Wait for other people to come over. You guys can all wrap him up together. It'll be fun.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
I don't know what they're going to do, man. I just don't know what they're going to do at defensive end.
I
guess it's going to be a lot of Cleveland Ferrell and a lot of Keon White.
A lot of Sam Okuwanu.
And maybe Bryce Huff comes back.
Robert Beal.
Robert Beal might be the least impactful player the 49ers have drafted who gets regular tick.
It is obscene how often he is on the field and does nothing. There's no like speed to power. There's no like, oh wow, nice, he turned the corner there. Nah. My guy's just doing cardio. Like as the Harrison Barnes of defensive ends.
They wish he was a Harrison Barnes.
Yeah, that's true. Ends. That's true. That's disrespectful to HB. I didn't mean that, Harrison.
It's just he's probably a practice squad player, a special teams guy, maybe somebody who gets a ton of playing time in the preseason, but because of the injuries at defensive end, this is just what it is.
Yeah.
So, anyway. I don't have anything else aside from I just want to point out, not to completely destroy the broadcast, but the highlight of the day for me was Upton Stout has been ruled out with a concussion, and then Upton Stout makes a tackle.
On the next play, not like a few plays later.
This was like a 10-second sequence to where Upton Stout, according to the broadcast, was ruled out with a concussion and then making a tackle on a play. It was just like a chef's kiss. Like, yes, this is what this broadcast is. And I love Kevin Harlan to death. He is one of my favorite play-by-play guys.
Yes.
He is outstanding. You ever listen to him on the radio? He is unbelievable. I love what he does on NBA broadcasts. He's so good. He's so energetic. Mm-hmm. Love Kevin Harlan. The broadcast today was a mess, and I don't think it was Kevin Harlan's fault. But top to bottom, it was just a complete mess. It was a little frustrating. But that was a highlight. Upton Stout out.
I have never seen that before on an NFL broadcast, and maybe this happens all the time, and I'm just stupid. Or maybe it doesn't happen all the time, and I'm still stupid. But I have never seen a player be announced as ruled out by the broadcast, and then that player not be ruled out. Like, where did they get that information?
No idea.
Did they say they're evaluating him for a concussion, and the sideline reporter took that as he's out with a concussion? In which case, you got to get with your sideline reporter and let him know, hey, this is not the same thing. Because that makes everybody look bad. That was, I mean, if it had happened a few plays later, I don't even know if you might have noticed it, but the fact that sideline reporter gets done talking, saying, oh, more bad injury news for the 49ers. Upton Stout, the rookie cornerback, has been ruled out with a concussion. Snap happens. Upton Stout makes tackle. Was a brutal sequence. A fun thing that Kevin Harlan did, and this is why he's one of the best, is he called Sam Okuwanu Okongwu, which is the Atlanta Hawks center on Onyeka Okongwu. And he caught it, and he said, taken down there by Okongwu, or rather Okuwanu puts it up and in. Like, that was great. That was that's good broadcasting.
Yeah.
Calling himself out without calling himself out. That was fun. I enjoyed that.
Yeah. To go back to the Stout thing real quick, I was just looking to see if maybe there's a number 20 on the Giants, and maybe there was an injury to like a 20 on the Giants, and that player was ruled out. Just looking at the flip card, there's no number 20 on the Giants.
Perfect.
So it wasn't like, oh, we got the team wrong. You know, there's a lot of stuff that happens. There's there's obviously the training staff on the sideline. There's a communication staffer on the sideline who then relays information to the sideline reporter and also relays information to the press box. When there's an injury, there's an announcement over the intercom in the press box. So-and-so is questionable with whatever injury, or so-and-so is out with whatever injury. That's a very common thing. That's why you see all the tweets from the reporters at the same time. So it was funny because I was going to send Nick, because sometimes there's stuff that comes through on the broadcast that doesn't make it to the press box. And so you and I will relay information from the broadcast to Nick in the group chat.
We're
And
doing
I
a great
was
job, by the
literally,
way.
I had the text message written. I was like, "Oh, Nick, Stout's out with a concussion, in case you didn't know." And then immediately he's on the field making the tackle. So I was like, "All right, glad I didn't hit send on that one."
So weird.
It's so weird. Anyway,
I'm digging. Do you by any chance remember when that was?
I want to say third quarter.
I'm going through the playlist.
Is this
to
a Candlestick
see-
Chronicles investigation?
Yeah, this is where call us Pablo Torre finds out.
Candlestick Chronicles finds out.
I'm trying to find if he was ever even, because on NFL game system info system, whatever it's called, NFL GSIS, they'll say when a player like leaves the game because of injury, and from what I can tell, he never even left the game because of an injury, much less got ruled out by the team.
And another thing that happened is they were like, "Yeah, Jason Pinnock is in to replace him." It's like, he's not. He's not. That's so weird. Anyway.
Very, very odd.
That's all I got. Just not a super descriptive game. The Giants are terrible. I'm with you on Brian Daboll for the most part. I think he's the type that can be like a coordinator.
Yeah.
Like if Brian Daboll is your coordinator and you have him trying to develop a young quarterback, I would feel okay about that situation. I wouldn't feel nearly as good if Brian Daboll is your head coach. But the Giants are super banged up. They're not very good to begin with, but they're also super banged up. And the 49ers did, I think, what frankly they should have done and kind of beat them up a little bit. And so it's a good win. 6-3 is a good record. It's just very hard to feel good about this team going forward in terms of, winning playoff games given their injury situation. And it's kind of where the season's at for me.
Yeah, man. It's I don't feel good about them, and yet they keep winning. Like every time they get knocked down and they lose to Houston and look terrible, I go, "Oh, okay. All right, this is where the losses start to pile up, and this is where the season kind of gets out of hand." And then they bounce back and they play great. They have a great win against the Rams on the road. Then they go to Tampa Bay. Oh, face plant. Okay, here it is. Now they got to face the Falcons. Falcons have this awesome defense. Nope. No Fred Warner. Nope. Doesn't matter. 20-10. Niners win it. Oh, cool. Now they get to go to Houston. Houston's offense not playing great. Oh, they get mollywopped by Houston's offense. Just can't stop them. Okay, well, there's the other shoe dropping. Now they got to go to New York, and oh man, another long road trip. This is where they're gonna have a bad loss, and this is where they let go of the rope. Nope. Another win. So I'm just kind of riding the wave. Like, if you told me they won next week, wouldn't be super shocked. Told me they lost next week, wouldn't be super shocked.
I think next week, and maybe we can get out of here on this, against the Rams is going to be like kind of the most emblematic of where they're at this season. Like, it's a division team. It's one of the best teams in the NFC. You may or may not have your starting quarterback, which feels like it's going to be the case throughout the rest of the season.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the Niners season is going to be epitomized by what happens next week, in my opinion. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Like,
Explain.
the 2025 Niners will be embodied by whatever the result is against the Rams at home.
Huh. So, if they lose, season's over?
No, if they lose, it's like, all right, yet this team very clearly probably isn't winning playoff games. If they win,
Oh,
then
I'm
it's like,
already there.
You're right, but I mean, like, this is like proof on the field. Everything, I guess next week has a possibility to where the rubber meets the road, and in terms of like everything we're talking about, and like in terms of how good they are, is all kind of hypothetical at this point. but like next week we'll be like, all right, this team is actually like good and can punch above its weight, or they've just been punching above their weight and none of this has been sustainable. They've just played a bunch of bad teams and beat up on bad teams.
I would normally agree with you, but I thought that's what happened when they lost to Tampa Bay. Because the Falcons are playing. The Falcons beat the Bills the week before they played the Niners. They beat the Bills by 2 touchdowns. And it's like, oh man, here it is. Here's where the wheels fall. Nope. Like it just hasn't. So I think I have an idea of what the 49ers are, and I don't think there's anything that's really going to change that. Like I should say their ceiling. I think their ceiling is making the playoffs. And I think them winning a playoff game might come down to like a bad call or a weird turnover or something like that. I don't think there's going to be a scenario. I don't think there's a way they're going to play down the stretch that I'm going to feel good about them winning a playoff game going into it.
Yeah, that's fair. There's a video.
The wheels could fall off.
Nate Tice just tweeted out a video of Matt Stafford throwing a no-look deep dig route to Devontae Adams. Devontae Adams just looks sick.
The 49ers
like
are losing by fucking 40 next week.
I mean, there were a lot of crazy results in the NFL this week, so we can't... Not ruling out a 49ers win. I just don't feel great about it going into next week.
Kawachipto says they can win a playoff game. Yeah, sure they can. Of course they can. But I wouldn't... I don't think they're going to be favored in any playoff game they play, is kind of what I'm getting at.
Yeah, particularly if they have to go on the road.
Yeah. But
I would like their chances a lot more if they played a home game.
Yeah, but like Kyle Shanahan's an awesome coach. Robert Saleh is an awesome defensive coordinator. You'd tell me that they cobbled together a game plan to go beat Seattle or Green Bay on the road in the playoffs. Like I wouldn't tell you that's wrong. I just don't think they'll be favored. And I wouldn't feel great going into that game. That's all.
With you. All right. We'll talk plenty more about the 49ers and Rams as the week goes. Shout out to everybody hanging out with us on the live stream on our YouTube channel. Please subscribe if you don't. Please hit the like button. Leave comments down below. Be part of the discussion. Be part of the discourse. I've heard 49ers discussion online be called the discourse, so feel free to be part of the discourse.
We may not be the discourse leaders.
There's only a select few, and maybe even a select one, who lead this 49ers discourse. But if you want to throw your hat in the ring, do it in our comment section. Subscribe, rate, and review wherever you get your podcasts. 5 stars are much appreciated. Make sure you go check out Lamb Chops and their Candlestick Chronicles merch, which we obviously love. We're wearing it as we record right now. Play Prize Picks, promo code Candlestick, and go to Cooperage Brewing, either of their two spots in Santa Rosa. Order the Candlestick Chronicles Hazy IPA. Tell them we sent you. Say what's up to Kurt and Amanda for us. And we'll talk to you guys later.